We had a great trip up to Laramie, Wyoming. I heard all week about the altitude and the problems it would cause, and I kept thinking it wouldn't. And when we got up there, I asked the players yesterday, and they were 100% that it was tougher. 7,200 feet's tough, and I can see now why Wyoming wins 67% of their games up there. It just kept us winded. And when it's a great break for the kickers and the punters, because the balls sail forever, it's very difficult to breathe unless you're used to it. And I was thinking when we were flying back into Austin, and I saw that we were at 9,000 feet, and I looked down and we were still way up there. I thought we were nearly this high when we were playing a football game. And it's deceptive because it doesn't look like it because you're in the plains, so it looks flat and you just don't feel like you're as high. But felt like it did bother us. It was tough on us, but it was good for us in a sense, too, that we had some adversity. And we didn't have any adversity the first game, and we needed some of that before we play a conference game against Tech this weekend. We had too many Mountain West crew, so you have to take into account that you're working with officials that don't normally do your game, so some things came up that probably are officiated differently here. But at the same time, we've got to make sure that we go back and do a better job not having penalties because we've had them for 2 weeks. And in a game this weekend that will be a much more difficult game, you can't have the penalties to stop what you're doing. Defense played great. The last 11 drives of the game, Wyoming did not even get in our into the field. They didn't get in our territory. So we were excited about how they played. The offense started slow but came out of it and dominated for 31 unanswered points. At one time, or totally in the second quarter, we had 165 yards to their 26. We just had poor field position because their punter kicked it inside the 25 times, and we didn't get the points out of the production that we had. So kicking game, the kickoff coverage was great, even though Justin kicked it out just about every time. It did every time but one, but their average starting position was like the 23-yard line, and our kickoff return just continues to get better. DJ Monroe's return to start the second half set the tempo for really a blowout in the second half, and we started with an average of 42 yards on field position after the kickoff. We felt like everybody worked hard. They tried hard. The awful part of the kicking game was the obvious. We had a block punt, and the disappointing thing for me is that's on us because they had a guy free on the first punt where they roughed us, and the same guy got free and blocked the punt, and we should have done a better job on the sideline. So that's not on the kids. That's on us as coaches, and we've got to fix that. And we were disappointed that for the first time since it's been about 9 years, I think, we didn't make a fake. You want to have fakes in the first 3 games because you want people to have to work on fakes. But we messed up the call and didn't get it in properly on the fake field goal. And you got to give Justin Tucker credit. He did an outstanding job on his rugby punts. He did a perfect job kicking off, and he tried to make a play as he was running out of the 10-yard line because we weren't having a lot of good things happen at that time, and he was trying to force something, and you just can't force it. So give him credit for being aggressive. It was just a decision that he wished he had back. We felt like when being asked about style points after the game, all we can do is do the best we can do. We can't worry about style points. We've got to play to be the best team we can play and be each week, and then we got to move forward. But if we sit around and worry about the end, then we won't be as productive each day. So we've got to play in the now. We've got to do the best that we can every week, and that's what we're doing. And then move forward, and if then the system can figure out what they've got in the long run. Colt, there's been a lot of conversation about Colt. I wouldn't trade him for anybody. He is playing great. In fact, when he started a little uptight both games, and he feels like sometimes he's got the whole weight of the world on him, and every Texas fan for the last year said, you got to win the Heisman for me, and you got to win the national championship for me, and he's a pleaser, and after he settled down after the first quarter, he's played outstanding in the last 2 quarters. In fact, really, he's playing better than last year. And when you look at what we want out of Colt, all we ask him to do is win. That's the only stat that really matters for a quarterback, and that standard's set really high. But we felt like our entire team was probably trying too hard in some areas. They need to relax and have more fun. We had 10 explosive plays on offense, 4 runs and 6 passes. We won the turnovers 1-3 because there were 2 fourth-down stops by our defense. We were 70% effective on first down because that was really important for us. Our third downs were not good. We were 5 of 17, only 29%. We're usually in the 40s to 50s. And we felt like that part of it were 2 calls, poor field position. We got behind on some calls with penalties, and 2 third downs were overcome, and we turned them into first downs and got holding penalties to stop them both. Red zone, we were 4 for 4 with 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and that's 11 for 11 for the year. So we've scored every time we've been down there. The offensive player of the game was James Kirkendall. Boss hog, big offensive lineman of the game, was Chris Hall. Biggest contributor was Dan Buckner. He continues to play really well inside for us. The great play of the game is when Colt broke away from the possible sack, scrambled, turned his shoulders going to his left, and just made a perfect throw to Dan Buckner down the middle for the touchdown. And very, very excited for James Kirkendall to have a bunch of catches for more than 100 yards. He really helped us. Our offense is averaging 553 yards a game and 50 points, and we're still not pleased. So that's probably a good thing. We said we had too many penalties. Really proud of the ball security this week. It was much better. And we did not have the ball on the ground from a running back. And we're going to be smart with Colt, but he's a better player and our offense is better when he's running the ball some. And that happened on Saturday. We were going to wait and run him this weekend, but we felt like we might as well go ahead and get that started. With our defense, points allowed, we had 3 for Saturday. Our goal's 13. We stopped the run. Our average needs to be 3.3 per run or less. We were 2.79. They only had 67 yards rushing. We stopped the pass. It needs to be 5 yards or less, and we held it to 3.6 per attempt, which was really, really good. They had 204 yards passing. We did force the 3 turnovers because of the 2 fourth down stops. They only had 1 big play, and that was the scramble by the quarterback on the 22-yard scramble, and Benjamin, their quarterback, did a good job. We were 100% in the red zone once again. Third downs, we were 70% successful on defense. They completed 3 of 17, or were successful 3 of 17 for 82%. Yards after contact, only 89. We missed 10 tackles during the whole day. The last 11 drives, as we said, they did not get in Texas territory. Players of the game, Sergio Kendall and Lamar Houston. They both played super. They played about as good as you can play. Hard hat award was Sergio for a number of hits on the quarterback because he was after him all day. Ball hawk awards, A.J. Williams did an outstanding job of stripping a ball loose, which we've got to have more defensive players do. It was a forced fumble. It wasn't just a fumble. And then Sam Acho and Lamar were fighting to get on it, so we gave both of them, along with A.J., the ball hawk awards. We had 17 quarterback pressures. We had 18 hits on the quarterback and 6 sacks. So the defense just played at a very, very high level, and we're very, very proud of them. Special teams, we've gone over most of it. Automatic was 7 of 7. Field goals were good. Again, we feel like we're becoming a real factor with kickoff return, and that needs to continue to be a super play for us. Players of the game, Hunter Lawrence. He's been 100% on his kicks this year, and Jordan Shipley for coming in and really helping us on punt returns. Again, there's 2 penalties on punt returns, and we would have had much better field position if we hadn't had those penalties. Questions?
Coach, when you hear the words Texas Tech, what's the first thing you think of?
Rivalry, in-state football, tough, West Texas football, Friday night lights, ability to throw the ball as good as anybody in the country, but playing much better on defense than people give them credit for, in 1 word or less.
Right. Now, you know you don't need to motivate your team because you got Texas Tech this week, but, 41-10, but you didn't play in some places the way you wanted to play. Does it still allow you to coach your team hard and give them that perspective that they got to show up?
It does. This team's putting more pressure on themselves than we are. And that's good because they expect to be perfect. Like I said, 553 yards total offense, 50 points a game. We're all mad. So we need to wake up here a little bit and appreciate who we are and what we've got. And we can tweak some things. The kicking game is a horrible error that has to be fixed, period, on the fake and the block punt. Those 2 things have to be fixed. They get you beat in a game that's close. So those are areas that we have to fix. The rest of the stuff we need to tweak and figure out who we are, and receivers are stepping up, running backs are stepping up, and we're figuring out who we are every day. Same with defense. We've got to figure out who can be the guy that comes in and rests Sergio and Lamar Houston, and we're developing depth, and we're doing all that. And we think as bad as those two situations were in the kicking game, we got a chance to be better in the kicking game than we've been all year. And the punt protection broke down with our regular punt. When we were in the rugby punt, we took a ball down to about the 4-yard line, and we killed a ball at the 1. So we're doing some really good things in the kicking game. We're just disappointed in the two obvious.
Coach, you talked about the second half and how good it was, but clearly that drive right before the half ended was so huge. Talk about what happened at 10-6. Did Colt say something? Did you say something? Did something come down from the bottom? What occurred right then?
No, well, we outgained them 165 to 26 yards. We just hadn't put in the end zone. So I think the urgency was obvious. We didn't have to say anything. There was no panic. There was nobody mad. I think there was some frustration because it wasn't easy, and everybody thinks it's going to be easy. And you go, those fans were great. The atmosphere was really good. The altitude was tough. We said all week that Wyoming plays really hard against really good teams like this, and it's their life, and they played their rear ends off. But we've always tried to defer and take the ball to start the second half, and it's a huge emphasis for our football team to score right before the half and then get the ball and score and get a 14-point swing at the end of the half and to start the third quarter. And that's exactly what we did, and our team anticipates that, and that's why we work so much with no-huddle offense, that we feel like we're really good in those settings.
Coach, I know players used to joke about how sick they were every time they turned on the TV. They saw that Crabtree play over and over again. Did you kind of feel the same way?
I don't watch it. I move forward. That's what you got to do. We got to play in the now. This is about this year's team. It's not about last year's team. We can't get that back. And I thought they did a good job of moving forward after that game.
Can you talk about how different this year's team is than last year's for Tech?
Well, it's different because the game's so early. Last year we had a horrible stretch of a very difficult stretch of Oklahoma, Missouri, Oklahoma State, and Tech, and all of them rated in the top 10 or 15 at the time we played them. I don't think that had ever happened in college football, or nobody had ever won all four, and we had our chances. And we didn't play well against Tech. They played better than we did, but we fought hard, and I was so proud of our team for coming back and having a chance to win at the end. And as much talk as there's been about the last play of the game and the drop interception right before that, there were 10 plays in that game that we should have done better, and that's why as a coach you don't go back to those two. They were just more highlighted because they were at the end of the game. You go back to the whole body of work for the night, and the body of work, they did a better job with their group than we did with our group, and that's fact, and then you move forward.
Coach, what are your thoughts on the receiving crew and how they've kind of formed into a different unit with Dan Buckner and Shipley specifically?
Well, Dan has been a huge lift for us. Greg Smith is doing really well at tight end, and he's doing exactly what we're asking him to do, so we're pleased with him. And Dan Buckner has been a huge surprise for everybody because he gives us a real threat inside, and we've had some great tight ends in that situation, but he's playing at a very high level for us right now. I think we see John Childs getting better every play. If he'd caught the quick screen earlier in the game, it was set up to have the same touchdown run he had on the 30-plus yarder at the end of the game. He just continues to get better. Malcolm Williams is catching the ball more consistently. Jordan's going to get the young ones involved a little bit more, but we're pleased with where we are with our receivers. We just need to make sure we catch every ball like we did last year.
Did it surprise you that Buckner kind of fit into that flex position?
No, we thought it was perfect for him. I think it surprised him because when we asked him to go in there, it wasn't as easy a move. But then we said you got a chance to get on the field more, and he was really excited about it. He's embraced it, and he's doing really well.
Mack, do you see any change in their offense with another new quarterback coming in?
Nah, they do the same things every week, and they're averaging 46.5 points a game, and they're throwing for more yards than anybody else in the country, so it's just the same stuff. Mike does a great job throwing the ball, and they do it every year.
How does he compare to the quarterbacks you've seen in the past?
He's the same guy. I mean, you just change the numbers. They all have confidence. Mike's done a really smart thing. Most of those guys have been in the system for a long time, so it doesn't drop off. We've had some younger quarterbacks have to step in, and he's done a good job of convincing quarterbacks to come and wait their time and be patient and play when they're ready to play. So that's why I think you really see no drop-off with their offense.
You see a situation where a lot of teams kind of play their style. Does it make it different unusual week compared to the other 10 or 11 games?
It does. It's easier to prepare when there's some element of no huddle and spread offense with Louisiana Monroe. Wyoming was complete spread offense. They're Missouri. So what you have to do now, Roger, is work more on a Colorado power running attack that comes up in a few weeks. You look next week, UTEP will be more of a balance between power runs and throws. But we're seeing more spread now than we are conventional offense. So it's something that you get much more work on. Doesn't mean it's any easier, but you're at least getting more work day to day on those type offenses. And we're running more of that offense, so our defense sees our offense every day at high speed, so that probably helps us as well. That's why we're trying to get back to some more eye and power running just for our defense as well.
Is there any timetable on the 3 academic calendar?
No.
Coach,
And we'll bring it up again. We'll bring it up when there is.
Coach, your goal this year is to be 1 second better than you were a year ago. You know, the We're Texas motto. Can you just talk about how that game has turned into positive motivation?
Well, yes, it's really not about that 1 second last year. What you, excuse me, what you want to do is be the best you can be every play. And if we've done that, we've won the game. That's our goal, to be the best team we can be and quit talking about last year, quit talking about the end. We said We Are Texas is to quit talking about the BCS, quit talking about the standings, quit talking about style points. Be the best football team you can be. And that's what we're working on every day with our team. And last year's team was not where this year's is at this stage, and we were 1 second away from having a chance to play for the championship. So we felt like that what we need to do this year is play our best, and then the system puts you where they want to. But all we can do is play our best, and for 2 weeks, the guys have made some mistakes, but I'm really excited about this football team and who they are. A lot of teams would have panicked Saturday. Some fans probably did, but a lot of teams would have, a lot of coaching staffs would have. This is a confident team, and they knew when it wasn't good. They need to fix it. Wyoming would not have scored if it hadn't been for the fake punt that came up short, and they only got 3 points out of that. There are so many great things that came out of Saturday. The most important one, the attitude of the football team. They were ready to play, and they played hard.
Coach, is this a plus or minus playing this game this week instead of November?
I'll tell you Saturday night.
Okay.
Real late. Real late.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Thanks, guys. Happy birthday again, Roger.
Thank you.